Welcome to the Bougie Baldie Podcast with your host, Kellie Rhymes.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Bougie Baldie Podcast. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Julie Olson, BCHN, CN, and CFMP, and I left one thing off, BSc. And I don't know what all of those stand for, but I'm sure Julie will explain. She's a triple certified nutritionist and functional medicine expert, named a top 23 expert to watch in the health and wellness space by the Los Angeles Tribune magazine, host of the Healthy Body, Healthy Hair, the Truth About Hair Loss Summit, and a 50K winner of the Top Talent Book Publishing Contest with an upcoming book. She's also the founder of Fortitude Functional Nutrition and the Healthy Hair Fix program. Julie is known for skillfully investigating, discovering, and communicating root cause resolutions by linking health, lab results, and lifestyles to regain health and naturally regrow hair, thereby avoiding long-term medications, procedures, and products. She's used the same strategies to personally overcome her health struggles of hair loss, digestive issues, and autoimmunity. Julie's mission is to help women worldwide restore their health, hope, and hair naturally, so you can look and feel your absolute best. Welcome to the Bougie Baldie Podcast, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me here, Kellie.
Yes. So we actually met and connected through LinkedIn, and I was looking at all the work that Julie does, and I'm like, oh yes, because I know I'm a person that would rather go the holistic route and figure out what's going on with myself versus automatically run to medications. And to find another person out here that is totally like focusing on functional medicine in relation to hair loss is a bonus, right? So, Julie, can you just kind of tell the audience a little bit about like what sets functional medicine apart from conventional medicine, especially in the terms of addressing chronic health issues?
Sure. Well, functional medicine shifts the spotlight from symptoms to systems. Instead of asking or prescribing, it asks why. Why is this happening in your body? And gets to root causes. And it's deeply personalized. And nutrition is the foundation of functional medicine. In fact, it's about 90% of its approach. And I left my corporate career to study nutrition when my mom faced cancer, not medicine, because I realized our health lives and breathes through what we absorb. And that's finally being recognized. Even JFK Jr. is pushing to require nutrition education in medical schools. So,
Yeah, and you brought up a good point with the toxins and things like there are so many things around us that affect us, not just nutrition, as that is part of it as well, but these outside things that we just have no control over are also affecting us, and we're using it not knowing how much it's affecting us. So that is another part of the issue, right?
it's a huge part of the issue, and that's part of my approach. Part of the matrix. I think you're going to ask me about that. Should I just jump in there?
Well, go ahead. If you want to talk about it, go ahead. We'll just go with the flow.
Yeah, but so toxins are a part of that because I discovered over 70 causes of female hair loss, but I put them into 5 root cause categories. And so toxins is one of them. So it includes environmental toxins, internal toxins. There's toxins is so broad now, and it's so encompassing in the general day and age. If you think about xenoestrogens that affect our hormones. But anyway, so toxins, stress, chronic inflammation, digestion, which includes nutritional and gut health, and then hormonal. You really can't avoid toxins, but you can definitely put your body in a position so it handles them better. And well, I mean, you can avoid some to an extent, if you eat organic and have good skincare and cleaning products and there's a whole list of, I have someone do like a kitchen clean out and just a whole house clean out when I first start working with them. But anyway, yeah,
Okay.
carried away on that.
No, okay, so let's take a step back and let's talk about like what made you go down the route of helping women with hair loss through nutrition and functional medicine. What actually sparked that in you?
Well, hair loss is devastating. And it's not just cosmetic, but emotionally. It often signals a deeper imbalance.
Hmm.
Like I just mentioned, whether it's nutrient depletion, hormonal inflammation, and more, but it's so often brushed off as just nothing. And it's the biggest myth. Hair loss is not just a vanity issue or inevitable with age. In truth, our hair often reflects our internal environment, and it's a messenger, not a mistake. And my work helps decode that message. And I also had major hair loss myself before I got into this industry. So that was another contributing factor. I'm very inquisitive and
So you healed your own, like you regrew your own hair through your own practices. Like, did you
Mhm.
test things out to try to figure out how did you stop your hair loss? Like, what did you do to kind of, and I'm not telling you to tell your program, I'm just saying your experience when you were out there trying to stop your hair loss. Like, what did you decide that you were going to just dive into, and what did you try and it didn't work, or how did that all develop?
Well, it developed because I was completely dismissed. I went to many, many practitioners and they just dismissed it, giving me the only option of lifelong medications or serums.
Mm-hmm.
And not one of them did labs on me or asked about my diet or lifestyle. They
Mm-hmm.
just spent, 5 minutes with me suggesting medications and that it was, it's just stress or it's, we're really not sure what you can do about it. There's no cure, blah, blah, blah. And that just didn't resonate with me. So I did a deeper dive.
So you did a deeper dive and you already had the background as nutritionist at that time, or did that?
No, no, that was before I got into nutrition. I took a step back and I quit my corporate job and went back to school to study nutrition and functional medicine. And that's where I learned to put the puzzle pieces together. And what I learned, Kelly, was that I was a hot mess, but
Okay.
my hair loss was a gift because
Mm,
I wouldn't have paid attention to my health. I would have just kept going 100 miles an hour. I just thought I was tired because of my lifestyle and I ended up having really high Epstein-Barr virus.
mm-hmm.
I was losing weight and I didn't think that was a big deal. I found out that I was anemic and celiac, so I wasn't absorbing my nutrients,
Okay.
you know, and I had H. pylori. I found out I had hypothyroidism, gut
Wow.
imbalances, food sensitivity. I mean, a lot of things, but a lot of that just stews underneath until you do a deep dive or something. My mom's cancer was the trigger for it too, the stress part. And
Mm-hmm.
that was another reason I got more interested in health, trying to figure out why she got so sick. At that same time, that's when I was like, oh, I'm putting blinders on my own health. And then, yeah, I just quit my job and went back to school and never looked back. It's the best thing I ever did.
Okay. Now, you know what? I know I'm just speaking from my own experience. I
Yeah.
never thought that your internal issues could be related to hair loss. Like I just didn't, I was totally clueless when I started losing my hair.
Kelly,
And
it's
even when
not
I
your fault because the marketing industry, that's why I'm writing this book. That's a big reason I'm writing it. I didn't mean to interrupt. I want you to finish that thought, but I
no.
want to jump in here because it's not your fault. They want you to think it's cosmetic. That's
Mhm.
what they make money on. It's a
Mhm.
billion-dollar
Mhm.
industry. It's a
Yeah.
beauty
Yeah. And if
industry, the hair and the pharmaceutical. They're right in there.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely, because that's the first thing when you go to a dermatologist, they're like, okay, well, you can get steroid injections and this and that. I'm like, I'm not interested in any of that. Like
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah.
like it's painful. to your point, I don't want to be on medications for the rest of my life, or, having something I got to continue to take and pay for.
Right.
No, I wasn't interested. So I was just like, forget it. I'm not going to worry about it. And I just pretty much went into denial and was like, I'm not going to even think about it. I'm just going to cover it up. And I spent so long doing that until I had to get myself together to where I am now. But if I would have known that it was something internal, I definitely would have worked on my internal health. I definitely would have spent the time and energy, because I feel like my body is important. And I don't think it's my fault. I never, blame myself or anything like that, but it's just interesting, and it kind of is frustrating when you find out these things after the fact, when you could have prevented something. I could have prevented so much of my hair loss if I would have known to
Right.
go a different route. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad you're here in this space, putting this information out there because it's needed.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're in the space and you're doing what you're doing because it's so needed. It's so needed. The mindset and just the
Because people
resilience
still
and the
don't know, right?
courage and the fortitude that you represent and teach women. It's just so, so important. And that again is the gift from your hair loss. And you're beautiful. You wear like
Thank you.
you're gorgeous. So you can do it, but not so many other women are that fortunate. And but they are fortunate if they can take a step back and go, you know what? I'm learning resilience from this. I'm learning hope. I'm learning courage. And they might not have had to face that if they didn't have their hair loss. And so for you bringing this out to the forefront, that's when I first met you. I'm like, thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's go ahead, and I want to get into your program because that is the important thing here. We want to talk about your program because this can help so many and has already helped so many people, right? So the name of your program is Healthy Hair Fix, and it provides a unique perspective on hair loss. So what I know, your own hair loss led you down this journey and your own health and things like that. Can you go into your program? Talk about what it does for women. How do you work with women? Maybe the process, whatever you want to tell us about the Healthy Hair Fix.
Sure, sure. So I've trademarked my process. It's based on the 5R framework process, a phase, remove, replace, reinoculate, repair, and rebalance. So go through the different phases. The first phase is more of a detective. I do functional labs to figure out what we need to remove. And it's not the same for every woman. You know, some women need to remove candida or parasites or mold or heavy metals or most of them need to remove whatever stressors, whether it's internal or external, that's making it so they're not absorbing their nutrients. Because a lot of women come to me and they're eating great, they're exercising and all this, but there's some sort of stressor. They're going 24/7 like I was in the fight or flight. And so their body's not able to absorb those nutrients. And I can see that in tests. I can see what nutrients they're absorbing or not. I test for that stuff. There are certain tests that are better than others for female hair loss, but it really does depend on that person, what labs. And I have my first appointment is 80 minutes. And that's after they filled out all these other forms to let me know about their story, their background. I want to see their prior labs. And then in that session, I determine what labs I am going to give them. And the labs are included in my program. So there's no surprises like, I know. They're not cheap. Functional labs are not cheap.
Okay.
Not yet. And some of them I can get covered by insurance, but most of them I can't. So
that was going to be my next question.
And then and then I go through the different phases and I put them on different protocols every couple of months for the different steps of the Healthy Hair Fix.
So it's the first session is 80 minutes and you pretty much go over the history and background, get functional labs done. You said sometimes insurance covers it and sometimes it doesn't. Is there Does it just depends on the insurance company or the type of insurance that the person has? Like what distinguishes whether the insurance company will cover it versus not cover it?
It depends on the insurance, their copay, and the particular lab.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
when you have them bring their previous labs, it's just labs they've gotten maybe from a physical or something like that,
Mhm.
like just
Mhm.
general labs.
Yeah, yeah. I get a lot of women, man, Kelly, I get women that have seen a bazillion different practitioners, even
Hmm.
functional medicine practitioners. And the problem is a lot of these functional medicine practitioners have not had hair loss themselves.
Right.
So they kind of skip over the first phase, or they don't even do the first phase properly, nor are they reading the labs for female hair loss. They kind of just generalize. So they're not spending enough time, or they're not doing the first phase properly. So you can go on to the other phases, but if you don't do the if you don't get out the toxins, right?
Hmm.
The toxins, the stressors, and you start layering in supplements and food plans or different protocols, but you still haven't got out the stressors. It's like picking a scab and never letting it heal. Or here's another analogy. Say your home was in this big hurricane. You get the framework up and you start moving in your furniture, but the roof's not on yet,
Uh,
right? Your
right.
foundation's not done, but you start moving your furniture thinking, oh, I can move into my house. That's what's happening with a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of other practitioners, because they aren't taking the time and they don't understand how complex female hair loss is. And they spend a lot of money. Supplements and labs and stuff are expensive. So that's why
Yes.
I'm very specific. I'm very careful and I dig deep. I've been a nutritionist for 15 years, and first part of my career, I didn't do labs. And now that I do, the second part of my career, I'll never go back because tests don't guess. You know,
Hmm.
you can think like all these things, but when you get that data, it not only helps me, it helps the patient. Because you could say, you're sensitive to gluten, and they're like, okay, I'll try to stop eating it. But when they see it in a lab, Kelly, they're like, okay, you know,
Right.
or if you, yeah, like, but you have a mercury toxin or overload, but
Hmm.
you can tell them that all day. And then when they see it in a lab, then they're more apt to avoid, high mercury foods and so forth. It really can make a difference.
Right. Because
Yeah.
you're putting it right in their face. Like you're like, okay, you can't
Right.
deny this. This is it
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's that detective work, the research I love. I used to work in media research,
Okay.
Warner Brothers and TV stations. So I really love the deep dive, and that's another reason I've been successful because I just love digging,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
figuring out what other practitioners didn't bother looking at, or a different way, or it's like, oh, I found it.
Exactly. And then of course, you're always trying to find the solution or help, the person who's in front of you, right? You want to
Yeah.
be able to help them. You don't want them to walk out feeling discouraged because they walked out feeling discouraged so many other times
Yeah.
when working with other people. So you
Yeah.
want to give them that information like, hey, you need to stop eating this, and do this. And that, let's see what that does for you.
Yeah.
So is
Well,
it,
and also, I just want to mention that I've had a lot of women come to me. I'm working with a couple of them that have had hair transplants.
uh-huh.
And did they get any lab tests or ask any questions before they took all their money for the hair
Nope.
transplant?
Nope. I'm sure they did not.
Mm-mm.
I'm sure they did not. And that kind of leads me to a conversation we had. This was off of the podcast when we kind of
Yeah.
getting to know each other. And we were talking about the people out there who are selling these solutions for hair loss, and it's a total crock, right?
Yeah.
So you were telling me how, much that bothers you, and that has led you right into writing this new book, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you want to talk a little bit about the inspiration, a little bit more about the inspiration behind the book, what the book is going to be about, because it's still being written. So guys, you got to look forward to it. When it comes out, she is going to let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really a love letter for every woman who stands in front of the mirror and is like, why me? And it validates the struggle and covers how industries are profiting from pain
Mm-hmm.
and offers a real world whole body strategies to reclaiming your health, whether regrowth is possible or not. It reframes hair loss as an invitation to investigate, to restore, and to reclaim your inner fortitude.
Okay. Okay. So it's really healing the body regardless of your hair loss. Your body is still important and you need to heal whatever's inside because it can trigger other things, not just hair loss.
Right, right. And also for women like you, it's like, well, this is me and I need to accept it and I need to build on that. It's a gift for me in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. So we already kind of talked about the hair loss matrix. Did you want to add anything to that, or we can kind of move forward, or did you want to say anything else about the hair loss matrix?
It deserves compassionate investigation and time. I mean, again, so many of these women are brushed off. And, part of it is because these dermatologists and doctors aren't trained, but they are trained to like do these painful, pricey procedures where they make lots of money. And I just see it time and time again. They're spending, thousands on even like PRP and oh gosh, all the research I've done on this book and what I've found is Kellie, it's really concerning because most of this stuff has a small percentage of working, yet it's marketed like even PRP is marketing. Oh, it's all natural because you're taking your own blood. Well, it's still a band-aid. That is whole part of the approach is just letting women know that it's not a pricey product or serum that you put on your hair that's going to make the difference. You've got to look at the whole body, mind too, your whole body.
Now, we talked about the misinformation in the industry and how that has led you to your book. Now, do you want to talk or tell the name of your book? Or you want to hold that in? You want to wait?
Yeah, I might be changing it, but my
Okay.
present working title is Hair Loss Secrets and Solutions: What Big Pharma and the Beauty Industry Don't Want You to Know.
Okay. Now, you said that this is going to give like a good overview of, the experience of hair loss and, the nutrition and how it's affecting you. Like, is it going to give people like bullet points or action points that they can take after reading the book? Like, is it
Oh
kind of
yeah, and
guide or
there'll be links to free resources and recipes and checklists and guides. It'll be a lot of proactive steps, yeah, and tips. And I have a whole chapter on myths.
Okay. Okay. So this is a book where people can read it and actually walk away and start doing or implementing things that are in the book and doing research based off of what you have in the book. And really, it can help them
Mhm.
solve or help potentially solve whatever's going on with them. But ultimately, you guys, you still need help. You need an expert. So even after reading the book, you still need to go to Julie or, a functional medicine or functional practitioner, someone who can really help you and get those labs and do everything that Julie's talking about. So once our book comes out, make sure you get it, you read it, take action, but you also need to contact Julie so she can further help you if you're very serious about getting your body and your health together.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I also you want to give women an overview and just hope and help too, because it's not out there. It's still a secret. It's still covered up. You know,
Yeah,
Male hair loss, like bring it on. But female hair loss, the work you're doing is very important. It is
thank
because
you.
so many women just and wearing extensions makes it worse.
Yes, and
Uh,
wig sometimes as well.
yeah. And those tight braids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, covering it up is really something that I just want to bring to the forefront. So maybe, even if they don't see me, but they just start to look at hair loss in a different light. Uh,
Right.
just I think the work you're doing too, is to give education, clarity, conversation, community.
Yeah, it's even just a spark, because
Right.
there's so much we don't know. So maybe you just hear something that sparks your interest and makes you go take action and do research or go see someone. Like, if it's just that, I'm okay with it.
Right,
Because
right.
there's so much not told to us, so much misinformation, like you said. The cosmetic industry, like you said, is $1 billion industry. What makes you think that they're going to tell you the truth? What makes you think they're going to tell you that what you're using or the products that you're using are harmful to you? They're not going to say that at all.
Or that they're not helping. The latest myth that I ended up spending a lot more time on than I expected when I was writing my chapter on hair loss myths is the biotin craze. I don't know
Mm,
if you saw my recent email this week, but I got a peer-reviewed abstract, and it's being published in the Clinical Integrative Medical Journal this fall. You see it everywhere. I mean, they're selling way too high doses of biotin everywhere, and this is an example. Um, and you can see it's on my website. I wrote a blog on it in detail, and it's got 36
mm,
medical scientific references. But too much biotin, I mean, the RDA is 30 micrograms. They're selling it for 10,000 micrograms. I saw it at Costco yesterday, a bottle of biotin for 10,000 micrograms. It does more harm than good.
mm.
So it messes with over 200 labs, including thyroid, cardiovascular, hormone labs, including vitamin D. And so it gives it, and again, I have all the charts on my blog. So go look at
Uh-huh.
that. But just even if you do normal blood tests, it's going to give you a high normal or a low normal on different markers. And then it can cause actually acne and skin issues when
Mm.
biotin is known to help with skin if you take too much. I even had a client, herself and her cousin, when they just take like 5,000 micrograms of biotin, they break out in acne and
Oh,
rashes for weeks. So that, and it can cause kidney and liver issues, cardiovascular issues. It's a whole mess.
so
But
it's doing
that's
more
just an
harm than
example
help.
of marketing myth, a marketing craze that is just a misrepresentation. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And who, again, most people don't know this. They would not have known this until you just said it. Like, that's what I'm like, it's doing more harm than help then. And you're thinking you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now, I know your mission is to empower women worldwide. So, what advice would you give women struggling with health issues, maybe causing hair loss or other issues in their body, and they may feel overwhelmed or disengaged and they just don't want to deal with it? Like myself, who was in denial for so long. What advice would you give to those women?
Well, like I said to you earlier, it's not your fault, number one. And second, there's hope. Even if regrowth isn't always possible, resilience always is.
Yeah.
Okay. And for many women, hair loss becomes a turning point, one that inspires, deeper self care, discovery, and strength.
Mhm.
That's what it was for me. And I see it in women every day.
Yep, definitely. Thank you for that word of advice for women, because there are women who are definitely still out there going through it, emotionally, mentally, and they don't want anybody to know, because hair is such a prideful thing to so many women. I mean, I would say probably all women, but hair is such a prideful thing, and when you start losing it and losing a piece of yourself, women are really out here like getting depressed and sad and just going through different emotions. So those words of advice were great. Now, when you want to look ahead at your business, the Fortitude Functional Nutrition, okay, that's the name of her company. In the next 3 to 5 years, what do you see? What do you want to see for your company, and how do you want to impact people even more than what you're doing now?
Well, my vision is global. I want to reach women everywhere with education, clarity, and connection. And I'm building more digital programs, publishing more peer reviewed abstracts, continuing to elevate awareness that hair loss is far more than skin deep. It's about whole body health, and every woman deserves to access the truth.
Right. Okay. So if the audience, anyone in the audience wants to connect with you, learn more about you, reach out to you, how can they find you? What is the best way for them to reach you?
Probably the easiest way is my website, and you can get it through my name. It points to fortitude at julieolson.com, and it's OLSON, Julie OLSON, julieolson.com. And then my social media handles are Julie Olson FN for functional nutritionist.
And I'll make sure I put all of those links and everything in the description of the podcast so you guys can go click on it. I also have your website as fortitudefunctionnutrition.com. They can reach you that way as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you guys don't worry if you didn't catch that. Just look at the notes of this episode and you'll be able to find Julie's information. Okay. Now, Julie, you also offer a free gift for people. Can you talk about the Healthy Hair Roadmap?
Sure. It's a guide. It talks about the different labs. It talks about the different root causes. It's a workbook. I revised it so it's more interactive. There's 29 hair healthy recipes. There's a lot of goodies in there. It's worthwhile downloading that for sure. And then also I could offer, I have an online course. It's called Foundations. I didn't talk to you about this, but I could offer your listeners 50% off for the next month with a code you could put in the show notes. It's $97 regularly. It's got 4 video modules, and then 17 downloadable guides.
Okay.
It's a really good place to start. It also includes a free session with me, so it's very worthwhile. So I can tell you after, we can put a code in your show notes if you want to do that.
Okay, yes, definitely. I mean, anything that can help people, we'll do that. So we'll make sure you guys have the code for the discount for that program as well. So you make sure you take advantage, because a lot of times you're not going to get a discount. And this is a great way to try Julie's program out and see how it is working with her, to see if it's a good match. So definitely take advantage of that, you guys. All right.
Yeah.
So Julie, thank you so much for coming on the Bougie Baldie Podcast. I do believe what you're doing is just so helpful for people out there who not just experiencing hair loss. I know that's the focus right now, but in general, health in general, you're helping people in general with their overall health. And I think that's just a blessing. That's a blessing. It is. So thank you for being on the podcast, and we will make sure that we have all of your information below in the show notes so that people can get in touch with you. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelly.
All
Thank you
right.
again for the great work you're doing.
Oh, you are absolutely welcome. Are you a woman struggling with hair loss, feeling unattractive and insecure? At Limitless Mindset Coaching, we understand the emotional toll that hair loss can take. In just 90 days, we help you transform from feeling lost and embarrassed to radiating with confidence and joy. Imagine building your self-esteem, discovering the perfect camouflage technique to cover up your hair loss, and receiving tips and tricks that can help you with your hair loss and embrace the new you while connecting with a supportive community of women just like you. Say goodbye to those negative emotions and hello to a positive mindset. Picture vibrant new relationships, walking through the room with your head held high, participating in social events and activities again, and living a life filled with happiness. Are you ready to take that first step? Well, visit www.limitlessmindsetcoach.com or click the link in the description today, and let's embark on this empowering journey together.
Thank you for watching the Bougie Baldie Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe